Hi. So today I'm going to be recording day 7 of the HackerRank 30 days of code. As always, I recorded day 6. I'm going to include it in the description if you're interested in watching it. Today's topic is about arrays. I haven't tried it yet. I just want to go through the process of understanding it and sharing my process of trying to implement it as well. It's kind of scary. I don't know how difficult it would be. I think it would be easy. I think it should be easy, so I can give it a shot. I'm kind of 50% confident, 50% scared, because I'm not going to cut this video. I'm going to make it full and I'm going to show everything. So if you notice that I'm thinking about something for too long, you can just fast forward it. For example, this thing I'm saying, you can just fast forward it to the place that you prefer the most. But I would like to just keep it for just to keep the history and evaluate myself and so on, and many other benefits. Okay, so now let's begin. So I would begin by trying to understand the problem. Then I would write some steps in which I would take to solve the problem. Then I would move to writing code. Writing code. Someone told me that writing the code is the easiest part. Understanding the business logic and the problem and trying to draw out the map or the schema of how everything should work is the hardest part. And writing the code is just bringing everything together. So let's begin. Today we are learning about the array structure. Check out the tutorial as always. So giving an array A of n integers, given an array print A's elements in reverse order as a single line of spaced separated numbers. Interesting. Some JavaScript functions are coming to my mind. Okay, is there a reverse in JavaScript? Yeah, I think so. Okay, let's see. So the first line contains an integer n, the size of our array. Okay. The second line contains n space separated integers describing array A's elements. So the constraints: 1 is less than or equal to n, and n is less than or equal to 1000. Same thing goes for AI, 1, 10,000, where A of I is ith integer in the array. Oh, I think they mean the index. I think that's what they mean, probably. The I is the index. If I'm wrong, please write it in the comments. The ith integer in the array. Or maybe, since it's an array of n integers, the first line contains an integer, which is the size of the array. So is it going to be an array of integers? Okay, I get it. Second line contains n spaced separated integers describing array A's elements. Okay, makes sense. So you should take this and print them in reverse. Wait, let me not begin to think about the code side, but let me think about the steps to implement it. So first of all, I like to implement the constraints. Then I like to implement the constraints, and I like to write down what exactly I should do in plain English. Okay, so I would have this and this, and my task is to just reverse them, reverse the order. Okay, so probably the first step is to get the array. The second step is to, well, oh, okay, I see. I wanted to say, okay, let me just mention what I wanted to say. I wanted to say make sure each value in the array is a number. Then in 3, reverse the numbers. Yeah, reverse the numbers in the array. Okay, makes sense. So read line. So we read the first line, and this is the n. Okay, but I need to implement the constraints. This constraints kind of confuses me most times, but okay. Because yeah, mathematically makes sense. Writing an if statement most times. I think I need to come up with a structure of how I'm going to write the if statement for all these constraints every single time. But I don't know if it's a requirement to write it, but I think it's best practice. I have taken some tests where I needed to implement the constraints, else the tests would just, like when they run the tests, they would pass in like arguments that are more than that are outside the constraints, and if my code runs, then like I failed the test already. So that's why I tried to implement the constraints. So okay, the constraint n. Okay, so 1 is less than n. So that means n is greater than 1. Wait, think again. 1 is less than or equal to 1 is less than 1 is less than 1 is less than or equal to, that means n must begin from 1. Okay, yeah, that means n must begin from 1. So n must begin from 1. That's a very good way to look at it. So if n is less than 1, or I need to use or, so I get those two cases. So n is less than, n is less than, so that means, yeah, n must be less than 1000. So n cannot be greater. N cannot be greater than 1000. So if n is greater than 1000. So now the if statement, I'm running an if statement that returns false to the constraints. So I will just explain this. Return, right? The idea is, if whatever the arguments they are giving to me doesn't match up with the constraints, then I shouldn't continue with the function. I shouldn't continue in the function. I should just return it and leave the function, right? So in the constraint says that that n is less than, so whatever they pass in as n as an argument, it should be less than or equal to 1000. So that means if it's greater than 1000, then it's not a valid argument, right? And the same thing, if it is, so 1 is less than or equal to n, right? So that means n must begin from 1, and end at 1000, right? Anything outside that range, it should not, the function should not continue, right? So that's the idea of the constraints. Okay, so let's write the other one. So it's passing int, so we're sure that it's a number. So yeah, passing int 10. So the question is, so I know the answer, but most people would ask why do they pass 10 here? I sincerely can't really explain it very well enough, but I know it has to do. Okay, let me just quickly Google it. Like, I've read the explanation before when I use ESLint, because the linter will not allow you to use pass int without passing the 10, because it has to do with hexadecimals conversion, something like that, and that 10 has to specify a way of converting it. I am sure I'm doing a very bad job in explaining that, but pass int. So pass int, yes, and so pass int takes a base. Yes, the base. Yeah, that's the idea. It should take the base. So it's converting to base 10. Yes. Why pass 10? Yes. Okay, let's see. Radix to 10. Okay. However, I strongly recommend. Wait. ESLint. Let me just. The ESLint really explains it very well. Okay. Yes. So you can read this. I'm also going to tag it. I'm going to add it to the description in case you're interested in knowing more about it. But the idea is, so if you do pass int of this string 071 without specifying the radix, radix, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it well. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. It would give you 57, but if you specify 10, then it would give you the right conversion, which is 71. Why? I need to read it in details, but it's really self-explanatory, and I think it makes sense if you read it. Okay, let's come back here. So let's implement the second constraint. The second constraint is the same thing, but that's the length, where ai is the ith integer in the array. The ith integer in the array. Where ai is the ith integer in the array. Oh yeah. Wait, does it mean that each value? Oh, I think there are two things I'm thinking of now. It's either they are saying that so the ai should represent the index in the array. That's one. Or they are saying that the values in the array is what is meant by the ith, right? So that means each element each number in the array should fit this constraint, right? But I'm thinking that the constraint is to the index, so maybe the length of the array. So, but if I'm wrong, please leave it again in the comments, and it would be very interesting for me to learn. But I think it's the length of the array. So, well, I don't want to do array length every time because I'm going to do it twice. So Control D. Oh yeah, VS Code shortcut works here. Okay, Control D. Yep, Control D. You just highlight it, you do Control D, and it finds the duplicate, right? D duplicate, right? Yeah, so their constraints are the same. Their constraints are the same. Okay, let me just do one thing. One more thing, sorry. I want to make sure I'm avoiding all distractions. Okay, very good. Let's continue. So, yeah, I have all my constraints. Now, to implement the interesting part, So, I have the array, so get the array, right? That's the first thing. Make sure each value in the array is a number, right? Okay, pass int is already doing that, making sure that the strings will be converted into a number, and it returns an array of numbers. So I have that here, and so it's splitting by space. Yeah, okay, that's nice, neat, everything works. So because readline is going to be a string, so it splits by space, then split returns an array that matches this separate. So split would look at like from a string, and then based on whatever I pass here, it would match it to return an array of grouped or split, let's call it like splitted parts of that string that meets this criteria that I pass into it. And then since it returns an array, I can map over them and then convert them to numbers. Okay, so 1, 2 is done. Now reverse. I'm sure I can do so. I can do this. Wait, let me just try it. I actually haven't tried. So let's node into it. I haven't tried using the reverse, like in Node, basically in JavaScript. 1, 2, 3. Array.reverse. I hope I spelled it well. 3, 2, 1. Exactly. but okay, this is quite so easy. But the question is, if there was no reverse, how would I implement a reverse? Well, if I was to, I could use reduce, right? So how else can I implement well, okay, let me show the simplest way. Let me just move this here. So let me say one. You can fast forward 2 and 3. Okay, good. No distractions here. So it likes to read from std out, so I'm just going to console.log here. Console.log. And again, reverse returns a new array, so I can be sure that if I run reverse, let's check the tests and see if it works. Okay, it doesn't work. Nice. Your std out. Oh yeah, okay. So it should return back the string. Okay, so we can do join, right? Join split takes the string and converts it to array, and join takes the array and converts it back into string, right? JavaScript is just so wonderful. Well, I understand most people that don't like JavaScript, but I really like it. Okay, yeah, that's a different topic. Well, let's run it again. I guess what it wanted me. Oh yeah, pass the test. Okay. STD in, STD out, expected output. Yep. Okay. Well, I could. How can I reverse? I can make it harder. I can like try something else. I can loop through each element and wait. I can just create, for example, an empty array before a loop, and like within the loop I would just instead of pushing to the array, I would splice. I would insert it in front. Oh yeah, I would just, instead of I don't want to write the code. I don't want this video to be so long, but there are lots of other ways to do it. In case anybody wants, maybe if you like a video talking about it, I think it's pretty easy. But in case you like it, then you can leave it in the comments. Maybe I could make a video. It would be very cool. But yeah, so today's task is done. Basically, I can just, to make my work neater, I can say reversed R, because just to be consistent, reversed R, then const reversed R to string, so it's clear for whoever is reading the code to understand exactly what's going on by the naming. I'm very crucial about my naming. I even with the people I work with, I am always very I'm not good at it. I really am not, but I have noticed the benefits, and I try to make sure that the names that I give to my variables is clear enough that anybody reading my code might not even need to understand the code logic, but by just reading the name, the person can understand what's going on. So here, the person doesn't even need to understand array.reverse. It just says a reversed array. Oh yes, okay, the array was reversed. Okay, now reverse array to string. Okay, yes, the reversed array was converted to a string, right? So the person doesn't even need to understand the logic. The person, by just reading the name, can already understand what's going on in my application or in my code base, which I think is very, very helpful. Okay, let's see. Let's hope we didn't break anything. Right. Yeah, why are you taking long? Okay, submit. Let's see. All the takes. Yay, test 5, test case 5, test case 5. Right, it's really simple. So, yay, very cool. Nice, we did it. So, I'm going to end this video. I'm going to share it on Twitter. Like this video, I would make some finishing touches and move to the next task. Thanks for watching. I really, really appreciate you watching it. It's really simple, but maybe you can try it, and also it would help you practice and improve your programming skills. That's the main reason why I'm doing it though. Thanks. Bye.